Hey, TV.
Hey VTV, what's going on? I am your firstborn second nature creator, third cousin, fourth removed with the fifth of sense, 6 times the savvy, affectionately referred to as 7 the 8th wonder of words, aka the middle name Ninja. My name is Orlando Watson, and this is...
I'm not internationally known, but I'm known to rock a microphone. Yeah! I had to do that because I don't do math, and he kept saying numbers, and it was confusing me.
We worked it out. We worked it out.
I am Valencia Joy. Thank you for tuning in. What does all that mean?
That's just an introduction I came up with that I felt would be slightly memorable, but not memorable to where people would be able to copy it easily.
Oh.
So I do that before any open mics or any gigs.
So can you go line by line and explain it to me? Like, where did this come from?
Oh, it's nothing deep. It's just super clever way of putting numbers together with how I like to refer to myself. The firstborn. I'm the firstborn.
Okay.
Which is kind of weird because I'm the only child.
Okay.
So I have to be the firstborn.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
last.
Yeah.
First and the last.
Yeah.
Firstborn, second nature creator. It's just innate. It's in me to create. Third cousin, fourth removed. We related somewhere, somehow.
Okay.
Human populations, human race.
You my cousin.
Right on.
Okay.
Fourth cousin, fourth removed. With the fifth of sense.
Okay.
Need I explain?
Keep
Okay.
going.
6 times the savvy.
Okay.
Affectionately referred to as 7. 7 was my original stage name before I opted to use my middle name, which is Orlando. I went by 7 Haiku for several years. So a lot of people refer to me as 7. Yep.
Okay. So how long have you been doing? Are you a rapper, a poet, spoken word artist?
I dabble. I'm a writer. I'm an artist.
And I'm sensitive about mine.
Not as sensitive as most people would think, actually.
Really?
No.
I'm very sensitive about
Yeah,
mine. Really?
Most creators are. Yep.
Yeah.
Nope, not me.
So somebody could be like, yo, that sucks.
Absolutely. And I'd be absolutely okay with it.
I would
Guaranteed.
cry.
The only person that gets to me is my wife. She's
Yeah.
corrected me on a few occasions and questioned me about why I'm doing what and saying what, and that always gets to me. But anybody else,
Really?
positive.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you were explaining your title.
Yeah.
I interrupted. You are
what number was we
spoken
on?
word. No.
Oh.
What do you?
What do I do?
Uh-huh.
How do I consider myself?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I write. I write at the end of the day. I've been working on a book for like 3 years.
I know it's hard, isn't it?
It is. It's easy, but it's hard.
Yeah.
You know, you go at your own pace. I do music. I produce. In music, I write songs. Spoken word poetry is how a lot of people know me. People ask me if I rap. I don't consider myself to be a rapper, although most recently I'm a part of this traveling production. This tour called Modern Warrior Live. It is they call it an autobiographical musical drama.
Okay.
Got that? Autobiographical musical drama.
Okay.
All right. So basically, what that is a production, and it's highlighting and documenting the life of Sergeant James Poling, who's a real life dude from Warren, Ohio. Which is about an hour
I just
out.
got real nervous because I don't know history, and in my heart, I was like, "Am I supposed to know?"
No, he's alive and well. He's not like Robert E. Lee or nothing like that, or Abraham Lincoln. He's like 27 years old. He served 3 tours in Iraq and suffered with PTSD. So he's trying to combat the stigmas associated with PTSD and just help a lot of different war vets and military heroes and stuff like that through a musical production. So I say all that to say, they commissioned me to write a rap, and I didn't tell them, but I've never done it before. So they came to me and was like, yo, you think you can write some like spoken word rap type thing and have your boy John Winfrey produce it? I was like, yeah, sure, like, let's do it. So at first I was like, I'm gonna write it, but I'm gonna have somebody else perform it. I was like, they threw that figure out. I was like, I got it. So I learned how to rap real fast. So yeah, so I guess you can add rap to my list of things to do. Now we premiered the tour at Tri-C East. Packed the house. I wasn't able to travel with them, but they just left Chicago. We'll be in Maryland this coming weekend, New York, so we're bouncing around. So I guess I'm a professional traveling rapper. And
you perform it.
Yeah, I wrote it and I performed it. Yeah, so it's interesting.
So how is that on stage versus when you're doing poetry? Is there a difference?
Yeah.
Are the nerves different?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope, nerves aren't different. I think I'm much more self-conscious.
Because you have to do it.
Yeah.
A certain way.
Yeah, exactly.
It's structured.
It's, you got it.
I know what.
It's structured, and I feel like what I'm doing, what I've done with my project, everything's personal. It's kind of like a new sound that I'm forming. So people who aren't acclimated to are kind of open to whatever I'm bringing to the table. But hip hop has been around for roughly 40 years. I think we just hit like the 35th anniversary. Yeah.
Why did I think it was older?
76.
Didn't I tell you I don't do numbers?
76. What's that put us at?
A number.
Yeah. Anyways, I believe hip hop like August something 76.
Okay.
Kool Herc and all those guys, but yeah. So I think it's a more familiar sound, of course. So yeah, I think I'm more self-conscious when I'm rapping or trying to rap.
Tell me about everything.
Okay, bring up a shirt and CD.
It's personal.
Everything's personal is an EP that I released this year, July 7, 2017. So 7/7/17. I was very strategic. Remember, we was going over all those numbers and everything. I used to refer to myself as 7. So
I'm trying to hang.
Moving forward, you'll see a lot of things dealing with the number 7. I'm just in the.
What's the number 7 mean to you?
A number completion. So when I chose to go with that name, I used 7 and haiku, fused the two units, meant complete form of poetry. So
I get that.
Yeah.
I get it. Okay, so tell me about the project.
The project, 5 tracks. It's an EP. I released it 7/7/17. And much to my surprise, when I released it, it shot up to number 18 on iTunes top 200 R&B. So
nice.
Yeah, I logged in and I was past Mary J. Blige and Kalani and Molly Music.
Really?
Yeah, it blew my mind. I didn't know how to process it.
That's favored.
It is for sure, without a doubt. So doing that, working on some more stuff.
Is it categorized as R&B?
It is. You can choose that. Once you release it, like iTunes doesn't be like, oh, you're pop or you're rock. Like you let them know what genres you want to be categorized in. And idealistically, I really don't know what to call what I'm doing. I call it snap music.
Snap?
Snap. S-N-A-P. That's soul, notes, and poetry. So I call it snap music. But of course, that's not on there yet.
You could create it.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
You know. So, but I thought it'd be advantageous of me to go under the R&B and soul. You know, for the audience that I'm catering to, be a familiar genre to them. So
if this is your first project, how hard was it for you to decide to do it, to get in there and actually record? Was it a process? Yeah,
several years actually. It wasn't hard from the standpoint of, am I supposed to be doing this? Is this like my purpose? Am I creative? Like that was never the issue for me. It was just time and money.
Yeah.
When I first started working on some of these songs, like track 3, Get Over Me, which is one of the, I think that might be the biggest hit, features Billy Mitchell and Brady Lamont, and I wrote that in 2011.
Okay.
So, I mean, that goes to show that 2010, 2011, that goes to show you 6 years ago, 6, 7 years ago.
Did you write it with the intention of it one day being on a CD?
Yeah, yes. I'm glad you asked that. I was supposed to release my debut EP in 2014. I was still in college. This was my senior year. And I was working with a producer who I would mention, but I'm not sure how.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. But I was working with a gentleman, based out, I could say where he was from.
Okay.
Based out of Cincinnati, and we working on a 5-song EP, and everything was done, mixed, mastered. So he told me, I went forward and put out a single called The Way under my former moniker, 7 Haiku. And that did very well also. I released that through CD Baby, and on CD Baby it made it to #1 on Urban R&B and #2 on like smooth jazz within this first 8 weeks. So that was a success too. So we were going to move forward, and he up and left, took my music and my money to Atlanta. And what hurt most about that, my grandparents funded that.
Oh.
So yeah, it wasn't even my money he was taking. He took like my people's money. So, you know, and then your family look at you like you're the irresponsible one. It was a whirlwind of mess at that time.
Oh.
So yeah, so I haven't run into him just yet, but you know.
So I've had a little experience with getting burned in business.
For sure.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah, and I'm still kind of in the middle of it. So I want to know, how did you find the wherewithal to keep pushing when you had your first experience with a snake? Because you put in your time and your money, and for somebody to steal from you when you feel you're walking in your purpose, which you're supposed to be doing.
I guess I dealt with that. My wife helped a lot.
Well, can I borrow your wife?
Yeah, for sure. You definitely can, but she helped a whole lot with that. I had mixed emotions. And I think ultimately I kind of had to deal with it because I knew without a shadow of a doubt I was supposed to be creating what I was creating. But in hindsight, I don't believe I was supposed to release it at that point anyway. So that when I released this and I look back on the journey and the process it took to get to Everything's Personal, I was like, yeah, like I listened back to those tracks, I was like, it wasn't up to par. It didn't have the right, everything wasn't there. So I'm not saying that it was like I'm just saying everything happens for a reason.
All things work together for the good of them that love the Lord. Yeah. So, and do you love the Lord?
I definitely love the Lord. So it came together. But I can't say, even with me loving the Lord, that I'm sure which direction I'm going to go in when we run into each other. It's only a matter of time.
Oh, I understand.
It's only a small industry. It's a small industry. So.
No more.
Yeah.
So, despite all of that, you kept going, released this one, and it's been received well. So now you're working on your second?
Yes, I am working on my second. The way I create, I can be working on 2 or 3 projects at one time. All music. So I might have 10 songs in the can, but they might not be for the same project. So it might be 3 for EP, 4 for actual album, full-length album. So that's kind of what I'm doing now. I'm working with several different producers. Well, not several, like 2 to 3 different producers. And I try to keep it tight as far as the production is concerned. So like sounds just don't sound. Some sounds just don't sound.
I get it.
You know,
get it.
From this spectrum all the way to this spectrum. I try to keep it like in seamless direction, and it's easier to do that with a small group of people. I've learned in my experience. So I am working on the next project. Plural maybe. Yeah. So
what do you normally write about?
Typically love, relationships, sex sometimes, God, faith, religion, has...
Let's talk about religion.
Oh, let's. Go ahead.
Tell me about it.
What about?
What do you write about religion? You're a Christian, right?
I am. Typically, well, not typically, of late I found myself kind of writing about like propaganda and just man-made antics and things that really don't pertain to who God is and what He is about. So I'm no like Bible scholar or anything. I don't proclaim to be, but some stuff is just, I would like to say, common sense. But I think religion has definitely, or is definitely, pulling us away further and further from the true essence of who God is and who we're called to be, essentially. So, yeah.
So, is it safe to say you think it's more about relationship?
Yeah, for sure.
Than religion? For
sure. Like, if we didn't live in a society so like tied up and caught up with like titles, I mean, I'm just a believer. I believe in Christ. I believe in His existence, His death, His burial, His resurrection, and why He came. But if Christian wasn't associated with that, I'd just be Orlando. Just
a believer.
Just a believer.
Yeah.
And we all believe in something. So at least you should. I feel.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Love. You're married for how long?
We just passed 2 years. Going into our 3rd year of marriage, we started dating December of 2009, my first semester at Youngstown State.
So you're college sweethearts.
College sweetheart. That wasn't the plan.
That wasn't the plan.
No, I went to college with a mission.
What was the mission?
Just be in the
a
flesh.
Believer. A believer.
Yeah, believing in something. Right? But
it came back in love.
Yeah, it came back in love real quick. My family was very surprised. My mom, I remember the first Christmas gift I got her. I think I went to like TJ Maxx. I got like a Dooney and Burke purse. It was like $100. My mom was like, who the? So yeah, that was an interesting time. Like, granted, I graduated high school when I was 17, so I just was turning 18.
Yeah, so you were young.
I was very young.
So when did you know?
Know what exactly?
That
I wanted to get married, or that I loved her?
All of it.
My whole thing. Legend has it, aka my wife.
Okay.
Legend has it that I told her I loved her. We got together in December. I told her I loved her in January, like January 20th. We have all these dates, like, so I think it was like middle of January, top of February of the next year. So 2 months. I told her I knew I wanted to marry her. It's just a matter of time and money, just like music. What your passion
like
is,
anything.
Just like anything.
Worth it.
Yeah. So I'm still broke, but I was especially broke in college. So and that put a little, a damper on things, and ring and wedding, stuff like that. And I especially wanted to get my education, first. So
did you get it?
I did.
Good.
Yeah, graduated in 2014.
Good.
Yeah. So.
So married a little over 2 years. What is the hardest thing about marriage?
Well,
I should point out that his wife is sitting in the room.
Looking dead at me, right?
But I also want to point out that I asked you, is there anything I can't ask? And you said no. So what's the hardest thing about marriage?
No, the hardest thing, it's going to sound super cliche, but communication. We come from 2 different worlds. Her world being, she was raised with both parents in the home. We're still married to this day. I think they like coming up in like 40 years.
That's beautiful.
It is. And my parents were married for 10 years, but split when I was 4. So do the math. So now granted, I have a great relationship with my father. He's always been in my life, things like that. But it's just not the same.
I know.
Like, it's just not. No matter how you cut it. So it's just things I didn't know, it's things I didn't see, it's things I didn't know because I didn't see them, and
no example.
No example of that. My grandparents, my grandfather passed just last year, but my grandfather, my grandmother married, I want to say like 68 years, but that's a whole different kind of that's a whole different, I was born in the 90s, you know what I'm saying? It's just different now. So even that example, I don't feel like it was who I am or who she was, and I feel like ultimately you have to figure yourself out and figure each other out. And like I said, she was 20 when I met her. I was 18, so I feel like from 18 to 21, I changed.
Of course.
21 to 25, you know what I'm saying? And she just had her 29th birthday, so 30, I'm sure it'll be new wants, desires, requirements, and things like that.
Because we're always evolving.
Always, you should.
You should be.
Right.
If you're the same,
that's how you die. That's
you know,
what
5 years.
Stagnation.
Yeah.
Stagnation.
Yeah.
So.
What's the best part about marriage?
Best part about marriage, companionship, loyalty. I mean, speaking my wife specifically, she's loyal to a fault, literally a fault, and sex. Can I say sex?
Of course, we grown.
Sex, yeah, for sure.
I was gonna say besides sex, but I was gonna let you.
You know, so
it's a beautiful thing.
it is, and it's different under the covenant of marriage.
Yeah,
you know, 'cause I've had sex.
Yeah,
and it's night and day. It's
yep.
night and day for sure. So,
can you explain that a little bit, just for people that may not understand? Like, because I think that's a very good point. Under covenant, even the companionship. Okay, so not to put you under the gun, but even companionship is different in marriage. Even the friendship feels different in marriage. No. Yeah,
I feel like it's heightened.
Yeah.
And I have conversations with people who are married and people who are no longer married, people who have never been married, and opinions always vary. But for me and mine, I feel like we both felt like almost an instantaneous difference. Like you know, committed to our vow. So people say that's like a fairy tale and fanciful and stuff like that. But I mean, I'm just speaking for.
When people try to speak against
all the time
what you believe,
all the time.
How do you handle that?
I'm just me. I don't push or press my opinions or my experiences on nobody, which is why I feel like that plays a lot into like why I believe that I was created. I look at myself, my wife does too, as ourselves as like a bridge. And if you look at my contacts and my Facebook friends, I have a wide array of network, people of different walks of life, backgrounds, professions. I think a lot of times most people stick to a pool of people like mine.
Like
but
them.
But I believe I'm supposed to be connecting you to her and him to. So I think that takes a certain level of understanding, empathy, and communication. So. Is there ever a place for like-mindedness? Yeah, for sure. I think, me and my wife are like-minded, but very different. We're very like-minded at the same time. So, back to what's the hardest thing about marriage? I said communication. I think that our like-mindedness helps us to remember why we got together in the first place. It helps with I call it stick-to-itiveness. Just being committed to being committed, essentially. Just being dedicated to the dedication. And so when we have our falling outs and our arguments and things like that, and I just get to having conversations aside from her in my own head, you know, like, dang, like, what am I doing? What did I do? Like, is this gonna work and things like that? I think I have to reflect upon like how similar we are and why we started in the beginning. So it helps. You gotta remind yourself. You gotta, constantly. So in marriage, do you have people that keep you accountable, or like people to bounce stuff off of, or people to kind of tell you, hey, get it together? Not a lot, and I don't think there's an issue with that. We have a peer, and this is a newly developing relationship, and it's going great. But we have a peer. They've been married 5 years. He's younger than me. She's the same age, or maybe a year older than Dana. And we function very well together as both married couples. And we have a couple that is maybe 30 years older than us. They've been married 20 plus years or something like that. And he's my mentor in several different aspects. Business, music, spiritual. He's a pastor, a drummer, producer. So I look to him for a lot of things. Yeah. He's a very committed man too. And he gets me together. So I think he's you like
20 years.
Yeah, I think so.
Because you're a drummer too, right?
Yep, I did. Yep, I started music playing drums. That was my first love, first instrument.
So I think people that walk life with you are important, especially in marriage when you're saying you didn't have certain examples.
For sure.
Because maybe they'll be able to show you something or open your eyes to something.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like counseling without the counseling. You know what I mean?
Right. That's a good point. It's
kind of like.
Yeah.
So go back to college. Is that where you started spoken word?
I started spoken word just before college.
So you've been doing this?
I've been doing it for a little minute now. I started in 2008. 2008, I had a marvelous creative writing teacher named Joe Rock.
I loved creative writing class.
Yep, I went to St. Peter Chanel High School. It's no longer in existence in Cleveland, but my teacher's name was Joe Rock, and I had a creative writing class, and it just opened my mind up, opened my world up. I was like, yo, like, I might be able to do these words a little bit, like, you know. And I took that, wrote a few poems. I used to sneak into the B-side lounge on Coventry. I was like 16, but I've been this size since I was like 16, 17. So I had a little bit of facial hair, so they used to sneak in, and finally they found out how old I was. And by that time I was already performing, so they used to, you know, keep nice and all that true poetry. So it was cool. So
has been the highest point of your musical career so far?
That's a good question. I know you said so far. I feel like I haven't had that yet, felt that yet, but I've opened for Kirk Whalum. I've opened for Ty Tribbett. Maybe Ty Tribbett, because Ty Tribbett really changed my life for real.
How?
I come from a background, everybody in my family ministers and preachers in some capacity, like most black families. If somebody sing or they play or they preach, they got a church somewhere across town. So my grandfather was a pastor, my mom was assistant pastor at that church. My father preaches, my cousins preach. It's ridiculous. So I've been around church and church music and singers my whole life. So when I heard Ty Tribbett for the first time, my friend Tommy got me hip to the Life album. You remember the Life album? Before Victory and before Stand Up and all that stuff. But Life album, I was like, this is soul music. But like, Jesus. Like, this is what everything is supposed to sound like. So it was just different for me. It broke the barriers of like what was to be talked about in gospel music, because to me, like as a writer, like I kind of get bored with gospel. I admit that I get bored with gospel, and as a producer, like
especially right now.
I think it's only 3 producers in gospel. I don't know who they are, but I would venture to say 3 people are making all of the gospel music right now. It's just not diverse. Then you come across people like Kyrie and Red Hands.
I know. Hey, and I want y'all on the show.
Yeah, Kyrie, Jacob, all y'all gotta get on here.
Yeah.
But it kind of rejuvenates like the limitedness. Not the word I'm looking for.
Yep.
Of what all gospel can and should do.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
It's kind of outside the box.
Outside the box. So.
And Kirk Franklin did it before Ty Tribbett.
Exactly.
So we all need, you know,
somebody
every generation needs that somebody to be
like Ty Tribbett was talking about being broke. Like coming outside, it's a boot on your car. You know, like stuff like that. Just practical, you know, real life stuff, but still with like the message of Jesus.
Yes, and hope.
So, yeah, there you go.
So where can everybody get your CD, your t-shirts?
T-shirts.
Did you bring me a t-shirt?
I brought the wrong car. I got a box full of merchandise. I did not. I got you though. We got hats, we got t-shirts, CDs are available everywhere you purchase music digitally. I do have hard copies, but it's Everything's Personal, 'S, Everything's Personal. Orlando Watson. It's on Tidal, Pandora, Apple Music, Amazon, iTunes, literally everywhere.
Yeah.
And yeah, I do have hard copies available, and I do ship them. I do ship merchandise. So follow me online everywhere at A Orlando Watson. My first name is Adrian, so that's what the A is for. A Orlando Watson, and That's Instagram, Twitter, SoundCloud, Facebook. All that. We connected everywhere. So if you follow her, you can find me. So.
Hey, do you want to speak us out of here? How you say it? Rap us out of here? Do something out of here? You can give like 4 bars.
4 bars.
Is that right? 4 bars.
So I'm just getting into the rap thing, so I'm still adjusting. I don't have anything.
Give me a poem.
You know what? This is like this is totally off script, and I just so happen to have it because I'm trying to memorize it. What section? Okay. Here we go. This will be on the next project.
Okay.
Alright, so I'm going to read
exclusive.
We teeter on the brink of fake news, fake facts, fake questions frequently asked. When do we adopt these masks of miseducation? Breed our men, rape our women, birth a nation. Turn it out, remove his whips, leave him with a switch, put lashes on his lids, paint his lips, beat his face until he blush, and place Nat back on the platform with heels higher than Twin Towers. Give him Power Rangers with empowered angles on Black Twitter to tweet, and watch opposing opinions retreat. Trump up the hate and hang father figures from branches of bureaucracy. Why is no one ever acknowledging minorities' plight? We take a knee, you take our life, calling Kappas in broad daylight. Hands up or not, we rot until our torsos turn into hashtags. We make memes to lighten the blow, but ain't much light about the load we bear, because we barely getting by and swear we getting high to almighty our misery. Knowing our history is a slippery slope of slick propaganda, publish the pages to perpetuate the damage. In what chapter do we stand a chance to change the pace? How come we can't catch a break for civil rights' sake, but catch cold case after case like Austin 3:16 in the ring of rattlesnakes? And although we wrestle not against flesh and blood, the battle began when Adam was out of place. So,
that's dope.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.